Hey guys, Isaiah with Symphony Landscaping here. Just wanted to take a minute and talk about vegetable gardening. So this isn't something that we oftentimes install for people, but it's one of those questions that homeowners often have. And on the side, when I'm not landscaping, I am an avid vegetable gardener. So today we're just going to go through a couple different vegetables that you can grow at home, super easy, and you don't require a green thumb or 2 acres of land and a tractor. Okay, starting it off, let's go to tomatoes. Tomatoes are a great option to grow in Calgary. They oftentimes do better in pots because they love heat. So if you're in an apartment and you have a patio that's south-facing or west-facing, tomatoes are a great option. You can buy a big planter pot from Canadian Tire or Home Depot, stick it out on the garden there, and stick a tomato plant in it and be eating fresh tomatoes for the latter half of your summer. Tomatoes go well with basil as well. So if you want to grow a basil and a tomato plant in a planter, they do very well together. So basil and tomatoes are great options for if you are kind of limited on space. If you have a home with a backyard and you're looking to put in, say, like a 4x6 garden planter this year and you're wondering what can I put in it, a couple really great options, especially when you're getting that planter rolling and it's kind of new and your soil ecology maybe isn't quite there yet, I would recommend kind of copy nature. So in the successional scale of nature, we have kind of the very beginning where you have weeds that like that alkaline kind of bacterial-based soil going all the way up to where you have your mature trees and forests, which has a kind of fungal dominant acidic soil. And so our vegetable garden kind of falls in the early side of this successional scale when it comes to gardening and the plants that grow there. So brassicas, and that's your cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, canobi, probably not mispronouncing that vegetable, but all those different brassicas, or vegetables, are brassicas. They actually stem from the same wild mustard plant that had been cultivated and changed over, the thousands of years that humans have been farming. And so that plant, anything in that family does very well, especially if you just started your garden planter. So you built it this spring, you filled it with garden mix, and now you're wondering, what can I grow? I'd highly recommend try broccoli, try cabbage, cauliflower, something like that in part of your planter. And then on the other side, I would try tomatoes. Zucchini is a great one as well. The thing about zucchini is making sure that you got a pre-started plant or you started your seeds early. I personally like to start my zucchinis and my tomatoes in end of February, beginning of March, indoors. Red Solo cups, believe it or not, beer cups, make the best seed starters. If I'm doing a tomato, I'll oftentimes just stick about 2 inches in the bottom of the Solo cup of soil and then put my seed in there and put a piece of saran wrap with an elastic band on top. Once that seed sprouts, you just keep adding a little bit of soil as the plant grows, and eventually the entire Solo cup will be full of soil and the plant will have a root system that is the depth of the Solo cup. So that's a little trick for growing tomatoes. If you're doing starting a zucchini inside, you would kind of fill up the Solo cup about halfway with soil, plant your zucchini seed, and wait for it to grow out. So getting a head start and getting an early start on those types of plants really will help you get productivity before we get those early frosts in September, October. So if you're doing just a small garden bed, those are some great options for vegetables that you can grow. You can also grow a couple different obscure fruits and vegetables that do very well. One is ground cherries. They're often sold in the store as gooseberries, but they're a little kind of yellow fruit, and they're quite good if you've ever had them. But you can get the seeds for these online, or oftentimes Canadian Tire will have them. And you can plant those again early spring, maybe March, February, start them indoors, plant them outside, and you can get fruit year-round, for the season, off of those ground cherries. Another option is all your greens. Lettuce and kale and spinach are really easy to grow. They're great for starting a garden bed. You can oftentimes get 2 or 3 crops off of one set of plants in a summer, especially if you're not cutting the whole lettuce head off, you're just pulling off the ripe leaves. You can get a much longer season out of it. So those are a couple of the vegetables and fruits that I would recommend growing in Calgary. They do very well. And the key is just making sure, if you watched our previous video, that you've got your soil right for the plant you're trying to grow. And if you're planning on starting some vegetables early, making sure that you plan your garden and get those vegetables that you are wanting to grow started early enough that they'll be producing fruit kind of end of July, beginning of August before we get the frost in September. So that's a couple tips and tricks from the Symphony landscaping team here about your vegetable garden. I'd highly recommend you get started with something. Try growing a tomato or a basil plant on your patio if you don't have a yard. And if you do have a yard, I'd highly recommend you guys dedicate a corner of it to at least trying a veggie garden. It's a very rewarding and fulfilling hobby, and it doesn't cost a lot. So if you like this content, like, subscribe, and you can follow us on Instagram as well as check out our Facebook page and our website at symphonylandscaping.com. Take care.